Hi guys, and a very warm welcome back to the new Sandling Junction. Now, in this episode, I am going to be looking more at the platforms in general, but also a complete redesign of the goods platform. That's all based on some of the information that you guys gave me in some of your comments in the last video. And before I go any further, I just want to say a big thank you to each and every one of you who take the time out to suggest things, give me your thoughts and your ideas and the benefit of your skill level. So thank you very much in advance. I do read each and every one. I'll always answer them. I may not be able to implement every suggestion, but I do take each and every one of them on board and see which I can do or use for the best. So thanks for the suggestions on the last one. And based on that, I have done a redesign on that goods platform, but it doesn't end there. There is also other ideas. Now, there's a couple of questions based on this as well, which I would love your input on. A question about that goods platform, and further into the video there is a question on what to do with a bit of ground in front of the table, right on this side, right on the lead edge. So look out for that one, and again, just give me your thoughts and give me your ideas. That would be fantastic. But I just wanted to bring you up to speed with what I've got going on here, how far I've taken the layout in this short space of time between this video and the last one. Also a couple of planned videos for the future coming out. I have just been sent the new Creality Falcon A1 to look at, to play with, to give you an honest review. So that will be filmed very soon, and a couple of projects that I'm working on right now which would have gone on the Falcon 2 Pro, they're going to be done now on the Falcon A1. So I think that machine is really exciting, especially for you guys who are just sitting on the fence thinking about getting into laser design and laser engraving and cutting, because this is an entry level, but it's more than that. It has got so many tweaks, bells and whistles that just take it beyond anything that I've used so far. So look out for that video. That'll be coming soon. And also I want to start weathering the platforms and show you some of that progress, what I do there. I also want to weather a locomotive or two as well. So lots happening, lots in my head, lots to be done. So let's get on with this one. Let's get it through to the other end. There may even be a little bit of running. It won't be much, but just something to show you at the end of the video. So take care everybody, catch you all at the other end, and see you soon. Hi guys, and a very warm welcome back. Well, in the last video it was suggested that I really ought to change this section of track where it kicked out a little bit and come back in. I was being lazy, I was trying to get away with it, but yeah, the more I looked at it, the more I realized that I just can't do that. So I did lift this piece of track up yesterday, and I've relayed it, and I've put this against it and run the 08 up and down, but it does work beautifully now. I think I'll just show you the 08. There's no kick, not that I can see, and it just goes out of the station as it should do. Let's run it back again, just show you very slowly, not that slowly. But there's no kick on it. The track went in nicely. Yeah, and I've lined the platforms up against it, and it is fantastic. It's just spot on. So I am going to now set this platform up here, get this one set up, and then I'm going to plan on putting that track down the other side of this platform here so that I can crack on. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I've marked out the position of the platform, certainly on these two anyway, before I even think about the goods one. And once I can get these two in, then I can start planning all of that over there. But okay, this is something that I have been worried about fitting. I've had this for a couple of 3 years. I had it when I was going to be doing the other sanding junction, and I've never used it. Now, I don't know if I shall use this. I do have some on order, on back order, but they haven't come through yet. This is a pair, will go on this one. Do I put another set of points in on the second two rails coming in? Unsure about that. But if I do, I'm going to definitely need a set of these to do both of them. The idea, and I don't think it's going to happen, the idea was to hide bits inside the platforms. I'm pretty sure that they're not going to fit inside the platforms. If this has got to be housed into it, definitely not. That's going to have to go somewhere else. But yeah, I think if it's just these, then they will go and site themselves inside. But I have no idea at the moment how to put these together. Well, I've got to say, looking at that little pile of stuff, for want of a better description, it does look vastly above my pay grade. So I think I'm going to have to do some research as well as read the instructions on this in great detail, and hopefully we will make it happen. Hopefully. The reason I'm being so careful is if I do not end up putting those points or keeping those points in, I may just take them out, replace the track, and that will make this job a lot easier too, and I will dispense with the need to having points in here. It was only to facilitate a run round, and I think that if I unhitch somewhere on a coat, if I bring a train in, if I unhitch it up there, and it can be pulled out by another locomotive and taken on the service back down the line. Therefore, I don't need to have the ability to run round. If I do that, then I've got to stop my carriages here. I've only got room for a couple. And I don't think it's going to work. I think I'd be better off putting these back on the market, cancelling the ones that I have ordered, because I don't think that I don't think I'm good enough to fit these. I don't think I've got enough area to fit them, to be honest. And yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare really. All of that work, all that money, investment and time just to make 2 points work, because I can't have any under there. I can't put a point motor underneath these. Unfortunately, there's just no room. I've got track right under there, and they're going to hit anything that tries getting in there. Otherwise, I would have gone for it. And even if I could have room under there, I haven't got any way of other than gluing them in place, because I can't get screws in there. So what does one do? I think I'm going to take them out. That's what I'm going to do. I think this is just too much. It's not going to work well. And I wish I'd left this in the packet alone. But there you go. We live and learn. But I really feel that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this thing back best I can. Slight damage to the instructions. But I think that I can probably sell this. Cancel my other order from Rails. Sorry Rails, but it's taken an awful long time to come, to be fair. And yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to bite the bullet, take those points out and not worry about them. Well, it's not the prettiest repackaging in the world, but everything is back in there and safe. So yeah, if anyone is interested in owning these, let me know. You saw me unpack them for the first time, and you saw me put it all back together again. But I have made the decision that I am going to take out these points here, dispense with them, and replace with straight rail, and be done with it. I think that's okay. So what I'm doing now is using a artist's painting spatula. Equally, a cooking one will do the same sort of job. It's just a very flat, very long surface that I can ease and tease underneath the track to lift it carefully without tearing out the ties or anything else. And I'm also cleaning off the cork as well. I have tried cleaning that and freeing it up from Copytex in the past. It doesn't really work, but I've decided, as you know, to take out the points, replace those with a bit of straight track, replace the cork, add that in, and get it ready for the new pieces of track to lay in. Now what I'm doing now is getting ready with the cork. I've already planned out where I want the cork to be put, and I'm setting that up to take in the line, the first line, not both of them. I'm going to put one in at a time, get that right, and then I can add in the second line later on as I feel confident that the first one is in place. I'm putting this track on loosely, and so I can put in the platforms just to see if that 08 will run down without hurting anything. I just wanted to bring you up to date with where I'm at and what's been going on, and I have sort of pretty much set these platforms up in as much as they're freestanding right now. There's been no decoration. I just wanted to make sure, as many people have pointed out in the last video, where when I did the original Sandling Junction, I ripped up all my platforms because I completely did not realize that I needed to be able to get an 08 shunter running down these lines without hitting any of these platforms. Now, I have made sure that I have done that in each of these cases. There is, when this one's set up, it's been moved around a little bit, when it's set up, there is sometimes a little clip here, just depending on where the these bars are, but overall I'm really happy. They're clear on here, and just that little bit there just suddenly catches, depending, as I say, when the connecting rods hit in the right place or not. But other than that, everything else that I put down here, diesels, locomotives, and of course these EMUs and DMUs, they are all running up and down here perfectly well. Okay, so now I've got that cork dried off, I'm ready to lay the point in and to get on with laying the track in place. I've already worked out exactly where everything's going to go, so providing I don't mess up with the measuring here and fitting, I'm good to go. Well, I got the point heavily weighted down, so I'm now putting it in the track. It's all been wired up, ready to go. The droppers are in place, and I'm just literally running down with it before I actually test the position of the track. Okay, everybody, a warm welcome back. Now, I have been working on these platforms for the last 3 episodes, as you will be aware, and I have done these 2 in the last episode. But this one has had a bit of a redesign. The initial one was 100mm wide, and I felt that by the time it came down, it was just too wide and narrowed the throat over here too far. So I had a suggestion from somebody in the last episode, why not make it a little narrower at 85? It's still different to these ones, and it gives me a little bit more flexibility over the back. I took that on, and I think it was a good shout, so thank you for whoever gave me that suggestion in the last video. But what I then decided that I was only going to make it 3 lengths down. So these are 380mm, so there are 3 of those down there. I've already measured it. It will take approximately a 12 wagon load down this side and this side equal, and so I can put that and half a train on, so I can actually get people off of the train, as it were, the driver and his second, as it were, to come off, no problems, and 12 wagons behind it. So that's fine. This will double up as either a spare passenger or indeed a spare goods, depending on the traffic needs on the day. And this will be a dedicated goods track coming down the other side of that platform. Now, on the sort of thing about the platform, you see it here as these are here. I did a ramp and a section there. Now, that wasn't the case to begin with. What I'd actually done, if I just remove this for a second or two, get that out of the way, what I'd actually done to start with, because I felt I was going to have a bit of a problem with this track coming around, I sort of went to great lengths, as it happened. I went to great lengths to make this. Now, this is very much a curved point of the platform, and I was bringing it around because I felt that the platform could come down further, give me more room here to put wagons on behind, and having this curve would allow me to have just a little bit more going on, and then I could curve the point around so this wouldn't be compromised coming around there. Now, when I put that on and I put it in this position, it was obvious I just didn't need that curve point. However, and this is where I'm going to get you guys to throw your 2 pence in. If I was to bring this up further to say here, then that has more influence here. All right, that will come round, as I say, that has a little bit more purpose having that curve there. And I could, in theory, if I just run this out the way for a moment, help if it was on track, but then that would in a sense give me room for another couple of wagons. Now, the argument is that really worth that effort? I've got to create a new bit here to come down here. It's all very much sort of concertinaing the whole thing. I'm not happy with the way this runs to the point of those slabs there. So that to me is not the best. It doesn't look great. So do I run that down and put that there and gain and create another little section in here to extend that platform further? Or, and this is how I'm looking at it, so as much as that was a bit of a pain to design and do I just do this, save worrying about 2 extra wagons being unloaded on a train at any given point? Just put that in there as I had it at the start of this video. Do I just do that? I have a nice grade drop back on the platforms, which is quite interesting, certainly from a photographic point of view. All I've done this way then is have a little bit more scenery in here instead of trying to stuff it up with ramps and bits of platform, and have everything as it should be, maybe probably more prototypical. And yeah, I can run this in like this. There's a little bit of ground there. I can actually use this and make a little bit of ditch water, something like that, and have 12 wagons on behind a diesel or behind a locomotive for goods. So that's what I'm thinking. That really is what I'm thinking. If I want to put a point in here instead of way back up there somewhere, I could do that and branch off a little sooner. That would be quite doable. So I haven't put this track in yet. You can see it's still flexible and still playing around with it. But that is what I'm thinking. So would you, question back, would you use this rather novel piece of platform that I designed to go back here, which doesn't work, would you bring it forward and insert another small piece in there, or would you leave it like this? I think that's pleasing. I think that looks better. And again, if I want to put a point in here somewhere to come off and spur off to maybe a second goods line that maybe wagons can sit on, holding on a holding line or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what the correct term for it is, but whatever. I could do that and that would be fine. So that's that situation. Okay everybody, just another little question for you guys to think about, although I think I already have the answer, and that is that I have a platform that I designed to have track both sides. I could change the tops and have it one-sided without the flags here and just finish it off. That's not a problem, but I don't really want to do a muck about like that. So whatever I do, I'll probably leave these, and the reason is that I've got options. One possible option is to put a point in here. Now I think the curve point is just too long to do in here. It will not work unless I start shaving off there. That's doable, not a problem. I can make this ramp curl in a little bit in the same way as I shaped this part here. So that's okay, I can do that. I can put a curve point in and I can bring a piece of track down to run alongside here, giving me another running line into the edge of the station. I quite like the idea of that, and let's face it, I'm always putting probably way too much track in, but it's doable. I can use that. I could put a straight point in here and probably end up with the same sort of idea. I think though the curvature here does require a curve point put in. So assuming I've got one, this one unfortunately is too damaged. The ends have been ripped out and it's just no good, I don't think. If it can be repaired, it couldn't be done by me. I don't have the skills in order to do that. But as I was saying, if I did a point there, it's a little bit tight to get that out without that sort of cutting through half of this platform. So do I bother? Or plan B, think of this one. Let's just suggest that instead of putting extra pieces of timber in here and messing up what I want to do down here, let's just suggest that once there was a line here servicing a platform here, but for whatever reason the railway decided to lift the track. Not all of it maybe, we can take most of the steels out so it can't be used. We can make it end short of this. We can have it curling in a little bit like that to suggest that that's where it went. But we can leave ties in, embedded in the dirt, all sorts of things. There are lots of videos out there where similar things have been done in the past. And then I can have the whole of this area here as just refuse, really rubbish, ground that's not been looked after. It's a bit of an eyesore. The old weeds have grown through whatever track was there or is there, or any of the steel that's still there, or certainly any ties that remain, and had this whole section scenic out as a bit of a derelict piece of ground and nothing more. So two options. Tell me what you think. I'd love to know. Either way is probably doable. I think that the point here could be a little bit more of a problem, just to make sure that that works on the geometry in that area. I'm not going to be bothered taking it further back. I don't think that that works because we're going to come out into this area too much. So I'm not going to do that. It either has to go in here and work accordingly, or it doesn't do that at all and becomes just a, as I said, a scenic piece of old track that's been lifted by the railway, and we stay with the 5 lines coming in and we disregard having a 6th one. Let me know, I'd love to know that one. And yeah, I'm still sitting on the fence with it at the moment. I don't have to rush, I don't need to do that. I've got plenty of time to do it. I think also what I want to do is, apart from start putting all the track over there and creating the infrastructure that comes through here, which is probably my next job, I also want to start putting some paint on some brown paint on. I used to put grey paint on, but I think I'm going to put brown paint on, just an acrylic base coat, just to cover up some of the wood now. There's no real need to do it right now, but I just fancy doing it. So I think that's what I'm going to do in places where I've got the track down. I know where I'm going to go with it. I can just play around with that idea and press forward. So yeah, I'm going to end this video pretty much at this point, just to get something out there to show you the progression. I also want to start weathering these. I've got several pieces of this that I've made that I can quite happily weather up as trials to get different ideas of what I want to do before I commit to the actual ones that are going to be on the layout. So that served me well for this one. I'm thinking of new ways that I can do the curvature on the platforms. There are certainly 2 or 3 platforms. There are 3 platforms to go, and they are going to be curved island ones. So I need to think of a new way of designing these to make it work, but I'm sure we'll make that happen too. All right, catch you all soon. I'll put a bit more footage in, and I might even have a little train or 2 running in and out of here just to end this video on. Take care, have fun, and thanks for your company, and I look forward to some of your suggestions in the comments. And don't forget, if you do like this or any of my other videos on Sandling Junction, don't forget to subscribe, like and share. That always helps the video channel grow and reach more people. Take care everybody, bye for now, bye bye. Hey everybody, I thought I'd actually finish the video, but I've had a little chance to play around and sort of see where I wanted to take the track and to finish the final section. So let's just start down here. Now originally I had a curve coming tightly around here, and it was frowned upon by many comments that I got from people in that video. So I have been able, or I will do, I'm putting 2 points in here. I've set this one further back from where it is. There it is there. It's now a few inches further back, and we'll start back here in the corner just after the bridge onto this level. And that will be a slightly slower curve, probably still too much for many people, but I do definitely want this exit and entry onto the turntable in addition to the one over there. And in doing 2 points here, I get this one behind this 3-way, and I can run up my service for goods and refueling, etc., onto the double slip over there. So if I just turn this ever so slightly this way, these tracks are already in place with the exception of the extension going around the goods, and this one has yet to be laid in. But what I've got going on up here, I think to me is pleasing. Now it may be wrong, it may not be great for some people, but I think that what I've got works for me. Let me just come in a little bit there. So coming off of the main line up through here, or the branch line, we come up to a double slip. That will take stuff in 2 directions. It'll either come back onto the main line, or it will go off here to the turntable, or indeed it will go on up to the diesel refueling, which is going to be up the back end there, where I shall put tanks and my Nightwing kits and stuff like that. And it will also go onto another small point here, which will feed off to the station pilot, and that will be a little shed there for that. I don't propose to put any more points in over there just to make more track go down. I just need to leave some room for some scenery, I think. And what I've got on the area here, on coming off this line of the double slip here, are the ability to have 2 more rows which will have I don't know, coaches in, it will have goods wagons in, empty, full, whatever. But I think the idea of that is to give me a little bit more playability for shunting. So I've got sort of 3 roads here on the other side of the platform. So we've got the platform one, then there's 1, 2, 3 before we get to the station pilot. They all end short of the concourse up the back end there. I want to put some road infrastructure there, maybe a tunnel going off to a pretend set of buildings, something else. I don't know what you want to call it, but something else that can be done off scene, and pretending that there is something that goes off with a road, so we can have goods collection at the end, maybe another mini platform that runs along the end, or a road or something that will allow stuff to come in. I may even pull that station pilot shed forward so that it doesn't need such a long run. We can actually make that come much more forward, and then I can have a little bit of something going on behind that shed, so little car parks, whatever. I've just, the whole thing is open at the moment, but all I've done just now is to play around with the track plan a little bit in my head, and I think every time I do this I change something a little bit just to see how it might look better. But now I've got all the platforms set up, ready to go down and work, then I'm sort of turning my attention to all of this area over here coming down past that lovely engine shed that James made for me. So that's all pretty much done. Now, unless you guys have got some other ideas that would be more beneficial, I don't have a lot of room now, and I don't want to keep just piling in points and more tracks and more tracks. I think that less is going to be more now. That said, there's an awful lot on here already. I'm still waiting to hear what you might say about this piece coming through here, whether we make it another live track or just a dummy one for scenery, I don't know. But yeah, I'm happy with the look as it is. I think it gives me some playability with regards shunting. I can have the branch lines working, and I can sort of make trains come up and down the branch. I can even bring stuff on and off the main from the branch line. Should I wish to do that, I can do that as well, and bring stuff up into this station. Takes a little bit of playing around, but once I get all the sort of signal boards and point table, point boards made, and so I can flick switches and change routes and all that sort of thing like I used to do, then I have more options. But yeah, I'm quite happy with the way things are right now. Okay, so this part of the footage, albeit speeded up, did have dialogue, and I absolutely messed up the audio, so unfortunately that hasn't happened. What I'm doing is I got a little bit fed up with the wood overall, so I'm using some cheap acrylic paint, burnt umber and some black mixed together to mess up the surface and give it an overall generic dark color. It's the abstract colors from the Sandling range that I'm using. Bit of black, little bit of burnt umber or something like that, just to give it a lovely richness and a quality, and taking away that wood surface. Now the thing about that is most of it will be lost when it comes to other weathering and ballasting and all that stuff, but if I miss any of that when I'm doing it, I won't see bare wood shining through. Now the last part of this, I started painting the ties in raw umber. I was going to do a little bit more on this, and I want to make it subject to its own video, so I really stopped doing it at this stage. But the raw umber on the ties at the moment, let that dry and we're good to go.